Welcome to a New Life podcast with Pamela Jean, where it's all about empowering women to empower more women. Get ready, friends, to create a new life. And here is your host, Pamela Jean.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to this week's episode of A New Life podcast. I'm so glad to have you here. This is Pamela Jean. I'm your host today. And today we're talking about your ultimate guide to unlocking the power within you and achieving the success you deserve and desire is what we're going to talk about today on the podcast. Before we get too far into our topic, what I'd like to do is ask a favor. Would you please subscribe, rate, download, share this podcast with your friends and family, anyone who needs to hear this, who you know this could benefit and serve, because I just want more people to be empowered. And the more you share, the more we can make that happen together. So thank you so much for that. So we're diving in deep today in the art of doing things differently. This is going to help you move towards your goals and dreams and get you started in a different direction. You know, I think, is it Albert Einstein that said insanity is doing the same thing over and over and you're expecting a different result? Well, in order to accomplish and achieve high levels of success in your life and in your business, you do have to start doing things differently. So we are going to break free from mediocrity. You're going to step into some greatness, and we will shake things up to do it differently today. And how do you do that? I mean, where do you even begin? How do we break free from the chains of our old habits and beliefs? That's a really good question, right? How do you do that? Because if you think about something, habits, the habits that you have created in your life, the things that you do every single day, your beliefs, the state of your mind, the story that you're telling yourself, you have been doing that for probably most of your life. So for 20, 30, 40 years, you've been thinking a certain way and doing things a certain way because of the habits that have been formed. Well, my friend, if you want life to be different, if you want to get different results in your life, we have to start doing things differently. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The very first step number one, is to embrace change. I'll be the first to admit I was not always someone who embraced change. Change felt like a huge inconvenience to me sometimes. Maybe you can relate to that. But change is not the enemy. It's honestly our greatest ally on the journey to success. Instead of fearing change, which many of us do, and I think the older we get, the more set in our ways we are, we kind of put up a little bit of a fight with change. But we have to welcome change with open arms. Change equals growth, which is the key to unlocking your fullest potential. The next thing is, I want to challenge you on your limiting beliefs, the story that you're telling yourself. So if you think about something, you have a state of being, like how you are right now, your state. Your state of being is creating the story that you tell yourself. So if you're in a state of panic, what kind of story are you telling yourself? If you're in a state of I can't do this or I can't do that, if you're in a state of denial, what kind of story do you think you're telling yourself? The story that you tell yourself, that your mind creates about your reality, is where your decisions are going to come from on how to move forward in your life. So we have to challenge your limiting beliefs, which starts with challenging the state of your being, of the state of what you believe is possible. Have you ever told yourself, I can't do that, or I can't do this, or I'm not good enough? Well, let me tell you something, my friends. Those are just the stories you've been telling yourself. You've created that story based on the state of your being. Those are just stories that you've made up and you've convinced yourself to believe. It is time to rewrite that script. Replace those limiting beliefs with empowering beliefs. Instead of saying, I can't do this or I can't do that, I can and I will. Or ask yourself this question, how can I do this? So if you're looking at starting a business, making a career change, or something, something that's really huge in your life, instead of, I can't quit my job. How can I quit my job? How can I quit my job to be able to start the business I've always wanted to start? How can I make my hobby, my career, my work, my job, my mission? Instead of, I can't quit my full-time paying job to do this, I just can't do it. No, how can I? When you change it to how can I, you start believing that it's possible. And prior to that, you will not even think for a second that it's possible. So it's changing that script. Instead of I can't, it's I can and I will, or how can I? Now here's a big one, friends. Stepping out of your comfort zone. Ooh. Success does not live in your comfort zone. It doesn't. It simply does not. Where you're at comfortable and cozy and comfy, your success does not lie there. It resides beyond the borders of your comfort zone. I often talk about growing pains. If you listen to my podcast, you will have heard me say this before, but you're going to have growing pains in your life if you expect, desire, want to grow. Because when you are cozy, comfy in your comfort zone, you're not going to stretch yourself. You're not going to challenge yourself. You're not going to make yourself better because you're comfy. Growing pains come from growth. So if you want to achieve your goals and live the life of your dreams, you must be willing to take risks. Now, I'm not talking about willy-nilly, haphazard risks, calculated risks. It's being willing to jump out of your comfort zone, push past your fears, and embrace the unknown. Once you have changed that state, what we talked about in the last bullet point, when you change your state, then you change the story that you tell yourself. After you change the story, you then can lean into, okay, this is how I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. This is how I'm going to take a calculated risk. I'm not up for taking a risk that is willy-nilly and not well thought out and doesn't have strategy behind it. But to be willing to think about the possibilities of stepping out of your comfort zone. Think about the possibility of taking a risk to push past your fears, not your peers, your fears, maybe your peers too. I don't know, but push past your fears. And finally, this is the last one. Never stop learning. Never stop learning. The world is constantly evolving. New technology is coming at us every single day. Did you ever think there would be a time where your phone, when you took it out of the box, was pretty much obsolete because there was a newer and better one coming on the horizon? You cannot stop learning. You cannot stop being challenged by new technology, new ways of doing things. Commit yourself to be a lifelong learner. Growth will become just something that is part of your everyday life. And through that growth, you're going to become the best version of yourself. You can't stop learning. In my life coaching and business balance coaching, we talk about intellectual pillar. That pillar is to keep your mind sharp, is to keep challenging your brain, to just expand your horizons, because if you just stay stuck in this one little sliver of your world, you're going to be missing out on so many growth opportunities. Whether you're reading books, attending seminars, or surrounding yourself with mentors or coaches, always invest in that personal development. Every year for the last 10 years, I have spent a full year studying under one specific coach. And I chose that coach based on what my life goals and my business goals were at that given time. So it changes from year to year of who I study with. But the importance of that is to constantly it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me on the cutting edge of technology and techniques, and I'm learning things constantly. So what are you learning this year? We're into the third month of 2024, almost the third month of 2024. What have you challenged yourself to learn this year? For me, I want to know and understand more about search engine optimization. Sure, I kind of know like the Cliff Notes version. I know what it is. I know what it means, but I want to know how it works. And I know that whatever I learn of SEO is probably going to change tomorrow, but I want to start learning. I want to understand what that means because it's a critical part of my business. So I want to know exactly what that is. And personally, my personal life challenge, the thing I want to learn how to do, and you can all laugh at me and that's totally fine, but I want to find a pottery class. I want to get a glob of clay, put it on a spinning table, and I want to create something beautiful out of that. So that's my goal for myself this year. I want to take a pottery class. I want to throw some pottery. I want to know how to do it. It's one of the things that I did in high school art class that I absolutely loved so much, and I want to tap back into that. Now, anything I created back in the day, it was not great. I'll be the first to admit I wasn't very good at it, but I want to learn how because there's just something about getting your hands down in the clay to create a beautiful piece of artwork, and I can't wait to start that. So that's my challenge for myself on the personal side this year. So friends, there it is for you, really. It's very simple. It's laid out very simply for you. First of all, embrace change. Change is part of the process. If you want to just exceed high levels of success, you have to embrace change. And we have to challenge your limiting belief. You have to change the state of your mind, the state of your being, for you to get the story right. However you feel, the state that you're in is going to get the story. That's how the story is written. And the story is what you believe is possible for yourself. And then get out of your comfort zone. Nothing happens that is growth-filled and success-driven when you stay comfy. It just doesn't. And lastly, never stop learning. Challenge yourself to learn and grow every single day for you to become the best version of yourself. You should always have a book handy, a different topic, something that is going to stretch yourself, a coach, a mentor. Invest in your personal development and find a new hobby. I'm going to try to learn how to do some pottery this year and learning SEO for my business. I'm excited about that. Those things are both going to be challenging for me. So thank you so much, my friends, for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. I hope you found value in this episode. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, greatness is not reserved for a chosen few. It's not reserved for just a few people in the world. It's available to anyone who dares to pursue. If you dare to pursue greatness, it's not just for chosen. It's for you too. So until next time, my friends, this is Pamela Jean signing off. I will talk to you soon. Stay hungry, stay focused, and keep striving for greatness.
Thank you for joining us today on A New Life podcast. We will see you next time.